They just pulled 70 coins out of this alligator. Lincoln pardoned Biden's great-great-grandfather. And hey, can someone hold the elevator until halftime? We've got some weird ones for you today on your News Refresh. And before we begin, give us a hot subscribe at the News Refresh on YouTube for more weird and interesting news stories each and every day. Thanks. So perhaps, for one reason or another, at some point in your life, you've tossed a coin into some water. Maybe you were hoping for a wish to come true. Maybe you were trying to rid yourself of all that metal that was weighing you down. Or maybe you were just trying to feed an alligator in Nebraska. Just the other day in Omaha, the Henry Doorly Zoo and Aquarium posted this cheerful little photo of Thibodeau, a 36-year-old leucistic American alligator. But what it may be lacking in skin pigmentation is certainly offset by an abundance of loose change. As vets with the zoo say, they just pulled 70 US coins out of the thing. During a routine exam, the zoo claims they came across a bunch of metal foreign objects inside of Thibodeau's stomach, which led them to knock the thing out, place a plastic pipe around its mouth, and shove tools and a camera inside of the guy to perform a reverse Salvation Army. It turns out all of the coins were retrieved. As seen here in this charming cup, there were pennies, dimes, quarters, nickels, all the hits really. And Thibodeau recovered from the procedure and was returned to his habitat as a healthy, albeit slightly poorer, alligator. The zoo, however, reminds its guests that an alligator habitat is not a wishing well. Writing on Facebook, guests should not throw coins into any bodies of water at the zoo. Any loose change can be turned in for a souvenir coin in one of the several machines around our zoo, or in our coin wishing well. In the comments, Luz Maria Cortez wrote, "Amen, prayer, prayer, crying, crying, prayer, crying, crying, prayer." Morgan Lemon wrote, "Make anyone caught throwing coins go in there with Thibodeau to retrieve them." And Teresina Hurley said, "Last time I was at the zoo, there were coins sitting on top of the alligator and tons more in the water." Indeed, Christina Rawl claims to have seen a post by an unofficial source that all of the gators will need similar procedures. To which the zoo replied, yes, it's likely they will need to as well. So should you find yourself in Nebraska feeling the inclination to feed an alligator a bunch of coins, just get one of these things. Lots of people call Joe Biden lots of different things. His Secret Service code name is Celtic, a nod to his Irish background. There's also Brandon, a rudely memeified interpretation of some crowd noise from a NASCAR race that's inspired things like this, quote, funny coloring book for adults and kids to have fun and relax. Great gift idea for everyone. And then there's Robinette, our president's middle name. Robinette is a name that dates back to his paternal ancestors. But up until now, there hasn't been much known to the public about these Robinettes, other than the fact that it sounds like a bunch of little birds. But according to the Washington Post, the National Archives has just dug up some documents about Joe Biden's great-great-grandfather. And it turns out he was pardoned by Abraham Lincoln, the great-great-grandfather, not Joe Biden. Apparently, these documents describe a brawl that broke out back in March of 1864 between two Union Army civilian employees during the Civil War, Moses Robinette and a man called John J. Alexander. It's said to have been brought on after Robinette said something about a female cook, after which a fight broke out in the mess shanty between the two men, during which Robinette took out his pocket knife and stabbed Alexander. He ended up being charged with attempted murder and was found guilty and sentenced to 2 years of hard labor. However, Army officers ended up petitioning Abraham Lincoln to overturn the conviction, stating that Robinette's sentence was unduly harsh for simply having defended himself. And about 6 months after this all went down, Robinette was ultimately pardoned by the $5 bill himself. Lincoln, of course, was ranked as our country's top president once again in the new 2024 Presidential Greatness Project Expert Survey. Elsewhere in this ranking, based on responses from 154 scholars from across our fine country, FDR moved up to number 2 this year. William Henry Harrison dropped down 2 slots to number 31, which still seems kinda high for a guy who died after 31 days in office. And no slouch himself, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. earned a fine placement at number 14, above Wilson, Reagan, and Grant. The college professors who carried out the survey say Biden's key accomplishment has been keeping Donald Trump from serving a second term in 2020, and that he returned the White House to a more traditional style of leadership. But if he wants to keep that spot, he might have to do it all over again, as the former president and present shoe salesman who occupies the dead last spot on this list hopes to return to the White House next year. And hey, what do you need to play college basketball? Practice and dedication, sure. Skills on and off the court, sure. But practically speaking, you might just need to take the stairs. You see, this is the men's basketball team with Fairleigh Dickinson University, and right before their game last Thursday, they're trapped inside of an elevator. They were getting ready to play an away game against Long Island University at their wellness center in downtown Brooklyn, when the elevator that takes them from the locker room to the basketball court stopped working, and they had to be rescued by the New York City Fire Department. And there they are, climbing out of the car in the shaft one at a time like in a cartoon. This broken elevator ended up delaying the game by 17 minutes. But hey, they ended up winning the thing by 2 points in overtime. And on Twitter, the FDU men's basketball team went on to post a video of their own elevator, writing, "Can confirm ours works." Sounds like they found a new winning warm-up ritual to me.